Hello, lore heads, and welcome to The League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today, we're revisiting some folks. Some old champs. You know, Riot actually does release new stuff for old champs sometimes.
Shocking. The Katarina comic fucking floored me when I first saw that. I was like, oh my god, they remembered. Someone remembered the Katarina exists.
And they answered like several questions that we had, which is like buck wild.
It was great.
Yeah, they really made Katarina like a relevant again. Like, oh man, she's important.
Personality and like,
oh my god, right?
Most of our complaints about Katarina, I feel like, for the large part, all addressed here.
I actually had to go back. It's been so long. I had to go back and listen back to some of the Katarina episode, and I was like, man, everything that we were talking about, we wanted, or like a lot of it. Really, they did. Riot, what's happening? What's going on?
It's great.
Yeah, so that's like the top thing we're talking about today is the Katarina comic. Nidalee has a new bio as well, which we've kind of just been around Ishal a lot. So we'll talk a little bit about her changes and her voiceover update. She got a new VO. It's so good. I just listened to a little bit of it earlier, which was probably one of our top complaints about Nidalee. It's like, she's still talking about summoners, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, there's a new Bard story.
Weirdly.
He got a color story.
Finally got a color story.
I don't know what's happening at Riot, but they're putting color stories, they're updating VOs, they're remembering Katarina exists. Something's happening.
They're listening to our podcast. And they're like, we gotta rush this out.
That's probably it.
Whatever it is, fucking keep it up. 'Cause I'll stop being so mean to Riot if they keep doing this.
Okay.
I'll not be so
not until
mean.
they end. I need them to end the tank meta, and then we can.
The lore team, the narrative team.
Oh, the narrative team.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, did you want to start with Katarina, and then we'll go to the other stuff?
Sure. Let's go for the big one. A 10-issue comic that was released. Was it a weekly?
Yeah, they had two a week, I want to say.
Oh, 2 a week, okay. Leading up to the release of Mage Seeker.
Yeah. And then technically 2 were released after Mage Seeker came out, so I started playing Mage Seeker before I could read the last 2.
And now, finally, you know what's going on.
It was the day after.
Interesting. It's funny. I saw that, they're doing the 2 a week thing, and I assumed it would be about maybe 6 issues, and then I went to read it, and I was like, they put out 10 issues of this fucking comic? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Mage Seeker must be a big deal for them.
Right?
No one else, but, Riot cares. Yeah, they're pretty short. Definitely go read them if you haven't. I really enjoyed myself. Poppy was sleeping on me. I don't have any notes of these comics. I'm so sorry, because that's when I got to read it, was when she had taken a nap on me. We up until 2 days ago, we're not positive what we were doing for this revisit episode. So,
yeah, I think even today, about 4 o'clock, I was like, hey, Bard got a color story. Let's do that.
He messaged us so late. Hey, I just found this. Let's talk about it. It's a short one. It's fine.
In our defense, there were 2 we thought were new, and then we realized either one wasn't new, and then one was a character we haven't done before. So I was like, okay, those aren't going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we thought that it was also a Katarina one. It was like a High Noon AU one.
All Talon.
But it is all Talon. Katarina is referenced in that she is a Harbinger. And they reference a third.
That makes sense.
They reference the Harbinger that she is, but they don't ever refer to her by name.
Well, right? I'll just say I can't. Mark, did you read that one?
I did way back for the cat episode, because I remember talking about it with John. It was one of the few High Noons I've read.
Yeah, it was freaking great. I can't wait to talk about it when we get to Talon.
Yeah.
Because I really liked it. Yeah, but anyway, back to Katarina and the comics.
Yeah.
Sure.
So do you want to take us through the rough plot of this one?
The rough summary?
Mark?
Yeah, I did. I don't have credits. I saw there was one writing credit on the wiki. Somebody who I didn't write down, something Hawks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. It's like Robert Hawks. I'll check it out later. Their Riot name is I think their Riot name is Jarvan, the little double agent guy, and I think that's kind of the tip of the cap. But obviously someone drew this shit and like inked it, and someone colored it. Like there was a whole team of people working on this shit, editors, all that jazz. But I couldn't find, like, I didn't see it on the comic either, like a credits page, which sometimes they do.
God, yeah, I'm not seeing it.
It's
even
worth
on
mentioning. This is not a universe comic.
Yeah, you know what? I read it on
despite the fact that this is canon, it is released by Riot. It is not on universe.
Can't find it anywhere.
It's on Webtoon.
It's on a web. I should not have to read league, like official league shit on a site called the Webtoons.
Yes, Mark, I googled it and I'm like, I know this isn't on universe. Let me just Google Katarina comic. The first thing that comes up is Webtoon. And I'm like, well, obviously it's not on Webtoon. And it took me like 5 minutes to realize that, yeah, that was the I have the app on my fucking phone now. Riot, why do I have the Webtoon? Webtoon.
Weirdly enough, I got very into a Webtoon comic like last year, so I had the app already. I was very excited to see that it was on there.
I was confused.
What can I ask real quick? Is Webtoons just like what is it? Is it like just comics? Is it like comics for like specific like?
It's like it's kind of a place where like indie comic authors and illustrators can post their comics, but they're like really quality stuff, and you can like get a subscription to get like, you know, early access to comics. I know the one that I was reading, if you're interested, was called The Boxer. I was very into that, but you could you know, you can get early access to the issues. Otherwise, you were like 3 issues behind at all times.
Damn. But I'm sorry for shitting on them, because that's a pretty good service, honestly, to be able to afford, like, because I imagine it's really expensive to take things to print, you know, so being able to put them out digitally.
Yeah, it's just like I assumed by the name that it was going to be like fan art, like comics, which is like absolutely zero shade on that. That's awesome, but I didn't think like there would be like an official league.
Right. It's still kind of weird, I feel like, but maybe that's like, you know, maybe it's got a huge user base and like Riot knew like that's where our audience is.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I guess to be, you know what the fuck do I know, right? It was funny like looking through all of the like, because I was scouring for new stuff and it's like, here's the link to the comics. I was like, I know some shit's not on the comics page in Universe, so I'm not even gonna look at that.
Right.
So yeah, Katarina, it's 10 issues. Like Rebecca said, definitely go read it. It's a lot of fun. Starts out with Kat. She is super into Noxus, and she's killing folks. And sometimes they deserve it, and sometimes they, I don't know, I guess kind of deserve it for different reasons. She's really into, she's a believer, we'll say. Kind of like Darius in that way.
In the new Noxus specifically.
Yes.
Yeah, new Noxus.
7 years, I think, after Darkwill fell. Something like that.
Yes. Yeah, 7, they say. Talon shows up, and her and Talon have a pretty amicable relationship. They're kind of like adopted siblings. We see here, which I don't think really vibes. There's a couple of retcons in here, but well, it's fine.
I can't tell if they're actual siblings or not. Like they felt like blood-related siblings to me, but
it was kind of adopted.
Yeah, the adopted thing
that makes
is
more
from
sense, but
it's from my knowledge of Talon's lore. I will say
that makes sense. I'll say that Katarina does not treat him any differently. Like, I would fully believe that he was her brother.
Right.
Like, he is her brother.
Yeah,
blood
he comes
related
off more,
or not, you know.
They're closer than like her and Cassiopeia from the lore
Cassiopeia's
that we know.
barely mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't think she gets
another throwaway line from the
No, it's not even a name. It literally, it's not even a name. She just says my
sister.
sister and has left or something like that.
Yeah.
I was really hoping she
honestly
would just
her
pop
mom
up.
gets more.
A little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
that's
little
true.
bit. Mm-hmm.
And I think this is also where, I think when we left Kat, Marcus Ducato was missing, but they kind of set here that he is dead and confirmed dead, and everyone knows he's dead. So her and Talon
For years.
For years, yeah. 3 years, I think, is kind of the time span from when he's been dead. They're chilling in the tea house. It's kind of like their safe house with their contact or whatever. I don't know what her exact relationship is. A woman named Dran, when all of a sudden they're attacked, and Katarina is kind of knocked out, and she wakes up, and it's Marcus. Marcus is alive. He faked his death. He's been, pretending to be dead for years, and he's kind of presenting to her that, hey, I've done this all in service of Noxus. Swain is completely corrupted by a demon, and he is setting you up. The reason he's been having you do all this high-level assassin shit is because he's setting you up to fail so he can destroy the Ducato house and, in turn, all the nobles and take control of Noxus. What he was going to have you do was go into Demacia, try to kill J3, and die. But what I need you to do is instead go into Demacia, kill J3, and a crown guard. It's like, okay.
It's so fun. It took me a second. I was a little confused.
Kat seems to kind of buy into it. She seems to pretty much believe her dad a lot. She's very much all about, like, I need to make sure my family's safe. Talon is safe.
Yeah.
My dad's safe. My family's safe. So she first goes to the Crown Guard estate. That's her first job. And this is where Lux breaks out. Again, this is kind of a retcon from the Lux comic. Lux breaks out. Katarina saves Lux and decides not to kill Lux because she kind of sees that A, Lux is kind of a threat to Demacia anyway, and B, she just kind of respects Lux. Lux seems to believe in Demacia the way she believes in Noxus, you know?
Yeah, I'm fully shipping them now. No, it's not going to happen, but this is my new favorite pairing is Katarina and Lux. They had a couple looks. I don't know.
They did have a couple looks.
Luxarina.
Fucking Lux is very attracted to the bad boys and girls.
Oh, she is. She would totally go for it. And to me, a Lux-Katarina dynamic is so much more interesting than Katarina and Garen, but that's just because everyone's more interesting than Garen.
It's true. But besides, there's a way better ship in this comic anyway.
There is.
So.
Yeah.
I will say I like Katarina and Garen, but maybe that's just me.
I like them more in this than anywhere else.
I do too. We've been wanting them to confirm it for a while. I do want. If I had to have Katarina and Garen or nothing, I would happily have Katarina and Garen. But
I'll take it.
I was seeing the sparks. The sparks with Lux is all.
So we move from there. Katarina kills J3. That's that mystery fucking
it's
solved.
Dope.
It's pretty fucking cool.
It's really cool.
You know what? I want to save it because I want to talk about it more and go back to what we talked about in her episode. Because I like a through line that's kind of carried through here. But she kills him and his guards, which sets up what happens in the Lux comic. And this captain guy named Jarvan, who you might not at all remember, and luckily they have a little asterisk to be like, hey, go back and look at this episode, this comic issue of Lux, and he was the guy who gave Lux access to all of their magical, like, secrets and vaults and shit. It was like, oh, normally you don't get this, but you're a crown guard. He shows up
when she wanted like the literature that Silas ended up using to
the
escape.
Lux comic kind of made us believe that he was just like, oh, a crown guard, sure, she should have this, but really he was manipulating everything all along. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Nox is here playing 3D chess while Demacia is chewing on checker pieces needing glue.
What's great is that Noxus has 3 different schemes going on.
Yeah, so much so that they actually kind of trip over themselves.
They do,
right?
They're like, oh shit, you're here? Are you here?
Wait, are we all Noxians?
3 stooging into a successful fucking assassination of the king.
I will say, I love that, like, Marcus and Swain are both like, oh yeah, go kill the king, as if it's just like, duh, obviously the king is like an easy target, whatever. But the real issue is blah, 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 you know, it's like, yeah, I didn't remember him either.
Yeah. No.
But he shows up and he's like, she actually killed him. This is going to make things complicated. So he's in the know, right? Kat is escaping. She runs into Garen. They fight. Garen lets her go because Garen realizes, I don't have time for this shit. I got to go help Lux because shit's popping off.
Yeah. It was great. They're like having this epic fight, and then at the same time, they're both like, "What am I doing? I'm too busy for you.
Shit to do.
You're too busy for me. I'm too busy for you. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
There's some great panels here. I really like this moment.
I do too.
Yeah.
Kat gets on a silver wing. She has the rider take her out, and then as she's escaping, Jarvan shoots her down, and she's saved because she falls into a big magical snail, right? Or slug?
Yeah, this is very confusing.
Which, for the record, will not make a lot of sense. This is literally the one connection thus far to Mage Seeker.
That's
okay.
I assume so, because it's like, this makes no fucking sense, and it's Katarina even has a line. It's like, somebody who cares can figure this out later, and I'm like, I fucking hope this isn't the writers being like, whatever. I don't know how to save her.
They got to get Newbie back to to figure this out.
She escaped. She's hurt, but she's fine. Weeks later, she's back at the tea house with Dran, right? I said in my earlier Dran. Kat's not sure, like, exactly who's behind it all and who's like who to trust, but there isn't, like, she realizes that Jarvan has followed her, and so she knows something sneaky is going on, and she needs to go check on Talon because either he's in danger or he's in on it. So she goes to see Talon back at their family estate. She realizes he's plotting with Marcus, and she gives him the old cut on the eye, in this confrontation. And Talon kind of spills his guts that, like, he's been in on it the whole time from day one. Him and Marcus have been working together, and they fucking hate Swain. So she goes back to the
really
tea
don't
house.
like Swain.
They really don't like Swain. She's back at the tea house. Dran is a hemomancer, so she uses that sometimes to heal Kat and also to give her. This is how she gets her shunpo. She uses hemomancy to give her shunpo, and Kat gets her shunpo by thinking about Garen's pauldrons. It's like it's like getting your Patronus charm. It's like you got to think of a time when you really felt something, and she thinks back to them fighting on the rooftop. And she's like, oh man, get those tingles.
I mean, didn't you? Did you see those pauldrons?
Those pauldrons?
They were big pauldrons.
Mm-hmm. I saw nothing else. I don't even know what Garen looks like,
Right?
but I'd
Those
recognize
shoulders.
his pauldrons anywhere.
While this is happening in kind of a mirrored thing, Marcus is getting some magic from a pale lady, whoever that might fucking be.
So fucking funny,
So
Riot.
funny.
Why'd you just show us LeBlanc? We know her,
At
Riot.
this point, I'm not even mad. I do hope that she never gets named, and it's only ever a pale woman or a pale lady. I'm kind of
Right.
liking it now.
I love too that, like, after he gets the magic from her, he gets like her eye makeup.
You're right.
I didn't notice that, really.
His mascara starts running super fucking hard.
That's great. I like the idea that, like, LeBlanc's the pale lady, but there's also, like, someone else who keeps being called the pale lady, and we don't know which one's which. And at some point, they're like, wait, you're the pale lady? No, I'm the pale lady.
I just
There's
understand
just one
very
really
well.
pale person in Noxus
There's
who just
there's
doesn't like
gotta
the
be.
sun and keeps
just
getting
Irish.
confused.
There's not one pale person. You're right.
So Marcus he got this super magic so that he can hide from Swain, and he's going to go kill Swain, and Kat is waiting. They fight. They're having a big confrontation. Marcus eventually pulls this big bomb that they had set up earlier in the comics, and Katarina, to her credit, she tries to use like the shunpo to take the bomb away, kind of like Dark Knight Rises, right? Essentially,
Yeah.
she's gonna like take it away from Gotham. And then Swain shows up, and it's the coolest fucking panel that I
So
can ever.
fucking
It's
cool,
so
dude.
Cool. He's like, nah, I'm gonna tank this shit. Fuck this. He's totally fine. Marcus is crisped, and Swain essentially kind of confirms. He's like, hey, I'm chill. I'm not a demon. But if I ever do get too demony, that's why I have you around, Katarina, so you can kill me. Because if I ever become not the person that I'm trying to be, etc. And yeah, then there's an epilogue. It's in the Freljord, and it's Jarvan, that double agent guy who shot Katarina down. He's reading a letter from, assumedly, Katarina's mom, and it kind of tells us that Talon's still alive. He didn't lose his eye. He's in Shurima, mourning with her and, I guess, Cassiopeia, and Katarina is now head of the Assassin's Guild, and as Jarvan is sort of like, yes, soon we'll decide the fate of Noxus, Katarina shows up and fucking kills him. And she's like, yeah, we will, but not you. And then she walks out. And that's the comic.
Yeah, that's the
What y'all
comic.
think?
It's great.
It's very, very cool. Like this, literally just like the introduction to Kat in this comic, like those first few pages were just so perfect. They did more for her character than all of her other lore combined. Like,
It's true.
we get to immediately see, one, how badass she is. She takes out an entire regiment of, Noxian abandoning, soldiers single-handedly. We see what she stands for. We see that she recognizes the strength that comes from things like architects and craftspeople, which this, general that she sent to kill is like, oh, they're just weaklings. They couldn't even fight back. And she's like, no, like, you don't fucking understand. Like, they do really cool shit that you just don't understand.
Yeah, it really solidifies to this Noxian idea, like this new Noxian idea that, like, someone isn't weak just because they're not a soldier.
Yeah, like there's all types of strength.
Yeah.
And I think this gives us another glimpse too of why people would join Noxus, like other than obviously the first group coming in and fucking shit up. Katarina goes in afterwards and is like, yeah, we're going to bring a troop in here. We're going to help these people rebuild, and we're going to give them a place in Noxus, and we're going to give them the respect that they deserve for like what they bring to the, you know, to the nation. It's a great glimpse of Katarina. And for the record, the dude she's sent to kill is like a general that she's known since she was a child.
Yeah.
And no fucking hesitation at all. And super, super brutal. Like, doesn't kill him immediately. Like,
she needs to give him a speech first.
Gives him a speech. And it's like, hey, before you die, I just want you to know, like, your family's disowned you. All records of your military history are expunged. You don't exist anymore. No one will ever remember you, and I need you to know that before you die.
I liked it.
It's
I really
so fucking cool.
Yeah, and I think immediately she goes from there to killing this other war mason. I think it was a really renowned war mason, but it's not. The context is so entirely different. Where this war mason is someone who has been kind of fucking up lately, but the reason ultimately is that he's kind of like Olaf, right? He wants a glorious death, and he will not like stop and surrender. And she gives him kind of the inverse of Roche, I think his name is, that first general she killed. The inverse of that, where it's like, you're going to be remembered as this hero who died fighting and never stopped, and you've earned your place in Noxus. And I like the conversation she has with Talon after that, where she's kind of really explaining it. He's like, he knew what he had signed up for initially. He was not afraid of death. He wasn't afraid of pain. What he was afraid of was becoming like frail and weak, ultimately, right? The Noxian theory. It's like if Klingons made sense a little bit more, you know? It's like
shots fired. Damn.
I mean, I love Star Trek, don't get me wrong. But I just really like you said, it's a really smart way to like, here's two scenes or two situations where we can help you immediately understand Katarina as a character and what she believes in. And it's like really well done. I really like it.
It was very, very good.
Yeah.
Also, we meet Talon in between these two things, and like Talon really changes with his hood off.
Yeah,
he goes from like cool looking assassin as soon as he puts the hood down, and then he puts it up and he's like a 13-year-old boy. He's like, hey sis.
Okay, he's not quite that ridiculous, but
check out my Pokemon card.
He has like this warm brother energy for sure, even though like he did try to kill her that one time. But they were.
But that was when he was a kid.
He was young, following father's orders. You know.
I like how much she excuses it, or is like,
yeah,
we were both
she was
kids.
Like, totally
we didn't know what we were doing. You know.
I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I do remember from back in the Cat episode, Talon, in that there's a story we read kind of related to her, where he was really weird. Like the way his thought processes were really bizarre. You remember what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And I don't know.
I do, yeah. It's the one where like he's watching her do a job, basically, and like not intervening, just kind of like observing.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I say the name of the blade, and the blade knows what I say. He's just off, and I don't know, like.
He was a little high during that one mission.
I'm curious, like this could very well be his internal monologue here too.
That's
he
true.
Could just be a very good actor.
That's true.
I would be open to that. I would kind of like that, frankly.
Yeah, I like that too. I was genuinely sad when like she meets Talon in the hallway at his old house at the end, and she's trying to assess like, is he on my side, or is he on dad? Did he know about dad?
Right.
And that he's been alive. And there's this sudden turn where you realize that like he's not on her side this whole time. And I was like, Talon, buddy.
Yeah.
I was getting a crush on you.
And he was very good in that scene because she was doing a full assessment. Like, okay, she walks in and he was like, oh, he's got bedhead, he's barefoot, he's in pajamas. Like, okay. And like she was like kind of had her hand on his shoulder while talking to him and like giving him some surprising kind of news. I was like, oh, his heart rate's not changing. This is all staying the same. And then the only thing that really tips her off is like she takes a deep breath and catches a whiff of her like dad's favorite
his perfume.
His cologne.
Yeah.
His cologne.
Yeah.
He's got
it sounded great.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Honestly, Riot, if you release that, I will buy it.
Right.
Because it sounded good.
See, I took the heart rate thing as like...
Dukuto, yeah.
Oh, that's...
Come on, man.
I
Riot.
do like it.
I know one of you is listening because we're affecting the lore. You're clearly basing your new stories off of what we're saying, so please send that up to marketing. I would bathe in it. No, I wouldn't, but I would spritz it on myself a reasonable amount.
You just put it in the air and you just kind of walk into it like, yeah.
Yeah, that's how you did it in the 90s. Little 10-year-old me. Sorry.
I really hope that they kind of keep some of that weirdness to Talon, because I liked that, and I do like when she kind of they start having their confrontation, how he like refers to her as like a pawn, like the mask drops pretty hard with him, and I did like that turn, right? And I think that it makes me hopeful for how they'll handle him if they keep doing stuff with him in the future. You know, frankly, I think the idea of him, you know what I think is going to be a lot of fun, is him meeting up with Cassiopeia, right? The other sister.
Yes.
That I think would be a lot of fun.
I want to see that reunion of Talon seeing his mom and sister again. Because one, I don't think he knows that his sister's a snake.
What a surprise.
Will he recognize her? I don't know. But anyway.
Last time I saw you, you had one fewer tail, sis.
Are you okay? What happened? Do you lay eggs now? What's going on? These are the answers we need, Riot. It's his mom who asks him, you don't ask your sister if she lays eggs, Talon.
She does.
Personal. I feed him to her every morning. Breakfast. Anyway, but yeah, where do they go from he doesn't have his daddy anymore, right? I guess. Is he dead now fully? we said he was crisp.
He does seem pretty burnt to a crisp. To be fair, there is a line.
He might not be, though.
Who knows?
I mean, there is a line from him where Katarina's like, but you were dead. And he's essentially like, Katarina, this is Runeterra. There's a bunch of magic and shit.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Right? What are you, fucking dumb? Come on.
You naive. So,
all I have to do is not want to die and
right?
fucking here. Yeah.
I guess I'll be a bird now or whatever. I don't fucking know.
He'll be one of Swain's birds, but he's spying. I love that, actually.
I'm going to assume he's dead, so I'm just going to assume he's actually dead.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like in the Mordekaiser realm now, you know?
Mordekaiser's eyes. I've never seen such a... Doesn't Dran have a line? Dran says that,
she
right?
Does. She does.
Oh, yeah.
Mordekaiser's
eyes. That's too long. Just say holy shit or something.
Great mace.
Great mace. I like that. Or Mord.
I like that.
Maybe that's disrespectful to call him Mord. I feel like calling Jesus
Only his friends get to call him Mord.
Wait, say G's. Never mind. G's.
Oh, G's.
Yeah, oh, G's.
Now, I'm kind of skipping ahead a bit to the Lux confrontation.
We were just skipped to Marcus's real death. Who knows? So
skipping back, I guess.
So,
I mean, I like this whole thing. I like how she used her kind of knowledge of the situation and like the situation in Demacia to kind of fool her guard when she was like, "Oh yeah, I was sent here to protect her from Garen. It's cool." And she's like, "Oh, Garen? I know that name. All right, you're cool, sis." Like,
see, I thought this was actually kind of the weakest moment, like in the opposite end of the spectrum, because I to me it was like it seemed a little too I guess convenient that Erica, I think or Arika, I don't know how we're gonna say that name.
Yeah.
Is like just takes it on her word, especially that she just killed a bunch of Demacians. I guess what I would have liked, I know the Demacians were like, hey, let's kill Lux because she's a mage, but I feel like, I guess it all felt really abbreviated. I would have liked maybe a bit more of a confrontation between those guards deciding they're going to kill not only a mage but also like Sonic Crown Guard, which is like a pretty big fucking deal. Right?
Yeah, I mean, she's very important, and she also feels extremely well liked in Demacia. Not saying that every guard has to love Lux or anything, but
yeah,
that's just how racist the Demacian guards are.
Even that was like the Mage Rebellion hasn't quite started yet, even right? Like maybe if
we're about 35 seconds away from the Mage Rebellion.
So if it had been after those 35 seconds, I would have bought it more, or maybe. What I would have maybe had liked is if Katarina had stolen like a Crown Guard crest, because she makes mention of it like when she confronts Garen that like, oh, you got the Crown Guard crest, and like back in the Lux comic, they flashed their Crown Guard badge or whatever, and they were able to get through a lot of shit. So if she had like taken the initiative to steal something like that and use that would have been enough for me. But it feels a little like, okay, we need to kind of get this thing to happen in this way. So
yeah, I get that. Maybe I think she just needed big pauldrons.
That's true.
That is true.
They would have been like, oh,
It's
she definitely works for Garen.
It's harder to do her flips with those, is the thing.
That's true, to
they
smack
really
her in
throw
the
off
face.
her balance.
Yes.
Now, one thing she says here is that Lux will make a good Noxian.
Yeah.
And I get where she's coming from, but I disagree. I feel like Lux is way too concerned with protecting legitimately weak people.
Yeah, I think you're right, frankly. And I would like maybe a little more of that to help delineate the differences between Demacia and Noxus, right? Like, what happens when you are weak? Sometimes you can't you're weak in some ways, You can get strong
Like
later
me.
in some way, but I don't know. I can't fucking build shit or whatever. You can cook a
Right?
mean egg. I don't know.
Some of us are dumb and can't lift heavy things.
Right. I did like.
You need the Luxes in your corner.
Apparently, yeah, right. And so I guess I would like us to come back to this point much later on, further on in Lex's story, and to have her argue against that like, I'm not a good Noxian because I'll protect that guy, and it's some old guy who's like, I can't. I mean, you can be strong if you're old, but just like
It's
some
like
guy.
it's like the little Yordle from Arcane who like takes the lift down.
Yeah, something like that. Would be kind of fun. I liked to I like Katarina a lot in this because she's got a really clear ideology, right? And I like when she's killing J3 how she really doesn't like him, even though we've in our readings have kind of come to like J3, right? Like we see things like, oh, he's probably a pretty good leader, and he had some understanding of the ways they fucked up. But Katarina, from her Noxian perspective, is like, oh, you're someone who just wants to trample on anyone who's stronger than you, right? You just want to keep that power over them.
I also think a problem is probably that their protocol is for the king to hide away when danger is happening, whereas in Noxus, no, the leaders would not hide if they were in danger of being, overtaken. They would be in the front with everybody else,
as evidenced by Swain showing up to grab a hold of a fucking bomb, right?
That's fucking dope. But we could talk about the assassin first because that does happen.
The assassination was very cool. We get a whole thing about oh, this is what happens if danger happens. The king goes in here. His crown, his guard is the Dauntless Vanguard is outside, never more than a spear's length away.
And he's in his panic room that locks only from the inside.
And if it locks, you can't get in. It would take mages years to get in. So she makes sure that when the king goes in there to lock himself in, she's already there.
Yeah. Well, that's something that carries through from the lore that I remember we read, is that she's always thinking. And that even comes up when she's getting her Shunpo, where Duran is like, shut the fuck up. Stop thinking for a fucking second.
Yeah,
right?
I liked that. You're right. Mm-hmm.
But I really like that. And it's carried through in her kind of internal monologue through a lot of this comic. She's always trying to think about how to handle things and how to deal with whatever the situation is. And
and this scene in particular was great for that. So they've got, I think, six elite guard that are protecting the king. And when she comes out and sees the elite guard, she's immediately all right, these they're great, they're well trained, but they've never been tested. They've never failed their king. So that's a big part of learning, and without that, it's just theory. Mm-hmm. So the first thing she did was throw their dead king at them.
Yeah.
And two of them immediately tried to catch the body. They're like, yeah, they're still trying to protect their king even though he's dead. Fucking worthless. And then one was surprised but not totally caught off guard. And then I think maybe there were 5 of them. And I think two of them were oh,
I think you're right. I think it was 6 because there were 3 that actually came to immediately reacted as they should have. Yeah, 3 were all right, let's get this fight on. So what she does is she immediately targets those 3 and just kills them outright. Just I think one of them
dagger
deflects the blade with a sword, if I remember the art correctly. but it's still cool. It reminds me a lot of this scene I really like from this book I really like, which is about an assassin like the opening scene is him killing a king, and he does the same thing where he cuts his head off and throws it into the hall to get to like fuck them up. And some of them are smart and some of them are dumb, and it's like smart guard and dumb guard. But yes, again, she's always thinking about the fucking angles. I really like Katarina's got a character. I can't get over it, right? I was like, I love it so much.
What was that bookmark?
Heroes Die. The cover art is fucking horrible, so ignore that. But I really like the writing of it, so go for it.
And after this is she's trying to do her escape, and that's when she runs into Garen.
The Garen meetup is so well done, because like the one kind of look that Garen gives is so subtle. And I really like that. They don't have this immediate, like, flirty, witty banter. Something that you might expect to see in, like, a fantasy novel or any novel. They really, like, genuinely don't want to deal with this right now. They both just want to go and do other things. So they only have, like, this short moment.
Yeah. And it's very... I mean, it's a very believable, like, I feel like this went down like I would expect it to go down. Like, Garen is like, all right, well, I got to take care of this. They have a back and forth. He's much better trained and much quicker than Katarina was expecting, because for some reason, Garen is very fast in all that armor somehow.
Yeah.
And then...
the pauldrons are fake. People just don't know it.
Right? They're just like
paper mache.
Paper mache pauldrons. But yeah, at the end, like, there's a massive explosion, and Garen's like, oh shit, like, my sister's down there, like, I do have to take care of them. She's like, yeah, you do have to take care of it. Like,
yeah.
And there's just kind of that, the look is just kind of like that respect, you know, like,
yes,
cool, like, that's a lady right there. It reminded me so much of, like,
that sure was a lady.
That's some woman right there. Garen's seen one or two of them.
Don, I never seen one of them before.
No, I know
That's
what you
John
mean.
just thinks every time he sees a lady.
No.
That's a woman.
It's like when you're driving down the highway and you pass like cows or horses and you're like, cow, woman.
Okay, now he's back to like grade school where he's like identifying shapes and colors and shit. It's like,
that's
what is this lady
That's Crown
doing?
Guard education.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of this is an old callback, but you know, the train job episode of Firefly, when like the sheriff of that town met Inara for the first time, was like, huh, that's a woman. Just like that. Man. He gives her exactly the same look that Garen gives Katarina when they
Man.
Sure.
It's been a minute since I watched fucking Firefly, I'll be honest with you. Damn. I like, you know what I like about the art in that whole sequence is that the sun is setting, and so each panel is getting progressively more into evening. I don't know, I don't know if it adds a ton, but it's just a really nice detail that whoever was drawing this was really aware that, like, oh, we're going to set this at kind of sunset, so every time we're showing a panel, it's getting a little darker. I also like, too, that Garen's got, like, the manacles, and for a second, he gets one on Kat. I was like, oh, man, are they going to do the thing, like, from that aborted,
right?
like,
comic
or whatever, where they're shackled together? And I hope they did, but they didn't. That's okay.
Oh, maybe that'll be a future comic.
Yeah, maybe
that would be great.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Also,
like
something I liked about this part, too, an interesting note about Katarina's fighting stance in here is that one of her daggers is specifically dedicated to blocking her back in her fighting stance, which was surprising to me.
She's got no armor
from what I know about Noxa.
So fucking stupid.
Oh, fuck. I want to know what's up with that magic slug, I will say.
All right,
I really...
Magic Slug.
Oh, are you gonna
Don't
spoil me
it if it's
for
if
us?
it's
Well,
in the game.
I won't spoil it. This isn't it's from the game, but it's not a big spoiler or anything.
Okay.
Especially if you're like, they make references to the Veiled Lady a lot. And I think, like, if you don't know anything about the lore and you don't know who the Veiled Lady is, yeah, it might be a spoiler. So skip ahead. But for us, we know who the Veiled Lady is. And this entire forest is where she's been fucking hanging out this whole time.
Okay.
But she has hidden it from Demacia. She does not let Demacians into this forest. She only lets very specific people into this forest that she kind of deems worthy of being in it, which is kind of how Silas gets there in the game. He's just regular forest, and then Morgana's like, ooh, but come deeper into my forest.
I've got a house made of candy.
Yeah. I don't know why specifically Katarina was deemed worthy. Like, I know she came from the sky, so but I imagine like
Morgana's like, anyone that comes from the sky, they gotta be cool. Good.
But like Demacians have all sorts of sky people, so I mean it can't just be
also,
like an oversight.
Kale would come from the sky.
Yeah,
so.
It's true. Maybe it was like a split second thing where it's like, oh fuck, she's falling. I don't know. Good, let her in. Put the slug there. Who knows?
Put the slug there.
But she also has a nightmare here that I found interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
She has like a nightmare where Marcus, or like her dad and Talon are in, or are Ionia fighting Zed.
Yeah.
I don't know if she will. I don't know if she even fucking knows who Zed is.
I don't imagine she would.
But then it's also kind of implied that maybe the nightmare came from Swain's. Swain's ravens.
I don't know.
But
I don't know how to interpret this thing.
Yeah, exactly. The dream sequence. I don't know for sure.
It's because it is weird. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's because Swain's ravens throughout the comic have been kind of following her actions in Demacia, right? So he seems to, but that could be the demon, right, and not Swain, because they are two separate entities, right? Maybe the demon's influencing her in some way.
Maybe that's like Rost, or not Rost.
Rom,
that's the other one. Rom. Yeah.
Rom. Wow, they gave them very interesting. I mean, similar names.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I will say, just the art for like the slug in that forest. It's really, there's a couple of really cool panels. Like some of the covers are really well done. It's got a really like Art Nouveau kind of feel to it. Like when she's first waking up from being knocked out on Marcus's ship, she's kind of groggy. And the way they show that is that all the environment is like these swirling sort of colors. Like there's Cat, and then she's not like in just a normal like bottom of a boat or wherever the fuck she's supposed to be, but the whole setting is like I said, it's sort of like almost a little watercolory. It's super, things blending into each other. It's really neat. It's a really neat like visual storytelling type thing, which I really like.
Yeah,
it's really neat. Let's see. I'm trying to see like through my notes. She's come back from the thing.
She gets back there and she meets up with Dron again, which I don't know. I mean, they don't ever really talk about it, but like, do we are there other hemomancers we've learned about other than Dron and Vlad? Like I think those might be the only two.
Well, we haven't gotten a Vlad yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, if we consider Legends of Runeterra canon, he's got like a whole emo crew that he might be kind of like a new school.
Emo-mancers?
New kids on the block. So maybe it's something that's kind of got a resurgence in Noxus. I don't know.
Maybe she used to be part of his club.
Maybe
she's left. Yeah.
Which is weird because Vlad's got a LeBlanc connection, and so
who's LeBlanc?
Sorry, a pale glass.
Oh shit!
Oh, a mysterious lady. I love this very sexy friendship, though.
Yes, it's a very sexy friendship.
Katarina and Dron, is it? Yeah. They've definitely hooked up. Like, that's not 100%. Even a question. I think they've realized that they're better off as friends. That's kind of the energy I'm getting,
Yeah, like they've hooked up. They've been there, done that. They care about each other a lot. I mean, Katarina even says, like, because Dron seems like she can handle her own shit for sure. Like, she's like, oh, you and I were going to go out there and we're just going to fuck them up. And she's like, no, like, we'd be fine, but, like, I'd be worried about you and I wouldn't be able to focus. So, like...
It is nice for her. That's another complaint I'm sure we had about Katarina, was that she didn't have a connection. Because this is a complaint I have with so many champions. Give him a friend, Riot. Just one. But it is nice to see her have a connection outside of her family. And someone who genuinely seems like she's in her corner,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you kind of need it, too, with all the crazy, like, backstabbing bullshit that goes on with her family. It's nice to have someone outside of that who's pretty on the level, it seems like.
Yeah.
It is nice.
And I did like the whole, like, the way that, I mean, she gets her shunpo. Like, I know we've talked a few times about, like, some things fit as just, like, they're magic, and that's all I need to know about it. It's like, they're magic. And sometimes they over-explain, and then it sucks, and sometimes they under-explain, and then it sucks. I thought this hit the sweet spot for me. This was kind of like the Ruinations version of the, you know, that Well of Life scene. Like, I thought it hit just the right notes of, like, keeping things magic while also explaining the logistics.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I remember that was, again, a big thing that was missing when we talked about Katarina. Is like, well, they don't talk about it at all in her bio, and then she just kind of has it. And it's like the only real, like, unique conceit of what she does action-wise. And it was kind of interesting when I was reading the comic, because I was like, you know, she's not shunpoing at all, like, in the early issues. I was like, does she not have it? Like, what's going on here? Are they just kind of skimming over it? Like, is she doing it and they're not really showing it? So it was kind of neat later on to be like, oh, she didn't have it. And here we're seeing the scene of her kind of getting it. And like you said, it's a nice nice note in terms of you know, how they explain it. For sure.
Yeah, I look forward to her seeing Garen again, because when they met, Garen insisted that she was a mage and kept calling her a mage, and she was like, "I'm not a mage, you idiot." But now they meet up again and they fight. She's gonna.
Well, now I'm Mage Jason.
Well, now I have magic, but.
Well, you're fueling it, so it's kind of your fault if you think about it. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I like that for sure.
Now, she has her confrontation with Talon here, too, and she does have a line with Talon that I really liked. It was when, like, it was after she slashed Talon's eye, and Talon was like, oh, are you going to finish me off? And she's like, no, you're who I used to be, trying to make him the father that we thought he was by being the child he said he wanted. It was like, it was a really powerful line for, like, that, like, just shitty family dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think isn't that line, doesn't she also say that, like, we're just blades in his collection?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really neat way of kind of framing it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like this really kind of solidified, like, really showed that Talon almost felt like he was steps ahead of her, but kind of in this moment you realize that he was not. Mm-hmm. He is not steps ahead of her. He has refused to grow in ways that she has grown. But it's hard because we still haven't seen Swain yet, and we don't know much about him aside what we're hearing. So there's, I feel like, still this idea in the back of your head of, like, but is she, like, being manipulated by Swain here too? Yeah,
I think even still, when she's going to, like, when she's going to go, like, deal with Marcus, going to do his assassination, she is still questioning, are Talon and him right? Like, is this actually, like, she doesn't quite know, which, you know, is kind of where we're at as an audience, which is kind of nice when it's like, hey, we're kind of resonating emotionally with the character because we don't know exactly what's going on in that way, you know, which I like.
Yeah, it was great. And so, did anyone reading when Marcus is having the conversation with LeBlanc, where he's like, "Oh, give me the magic, so Swain can't see me"? Did that read to anyone else like an original champion judgment?
Oh no! But
she was basically like, "What, Marcus?
Oh my God, you're right, though.
Marcus du Coteau, why do you wish to kill Jericho Swain?" And he's like, "For Noxus." And then she's like, "Fucking liar, I can see in your head. Why do you really want to kill him?" He's like, "Revenge in my honor."
How does it feel to expose your mind?
How do it feel to expose your mind to the League?
Now he gets to repeatedly fight Swain in the League of Legends.
That is so... What a fucking catch. Fucking great.
You've read too many of these. They're in your head. They're corrupting you like the demon.
No, that's great.
But we get a very cool action scene here between Kat and her dad, where, like, she's finally, like, this whole time she's been fighting like her dad trained her, ignoring a lot of his lessons, but still, like, her fighting style is very much what her dad taught her. And she's realizing that, like, he knows that he taught her this way, and he's specifically doing everything to counter it. Like he was like, oh, stay low to the ground so you can feel her movement. So then when she does that, he like jumps in the air so that there's no movements on the ground, and he's like really taking advantage of it. And finally she's like, all right, I'm just gonna fight like me, and then she just catches him off guard. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I fucking killed Talon. Bitch.
Oh yeah, that was great. I forgot about that. She's like, oh, I just need him to flinch just a second. Your boy's dead.
He took too heavy a step because it caught him by surprise, and she just fucking nails him in the nose, breaks his leg, and he's like, wait.
I got a bomb.
Well, again, I like it because she kind of does something similar with Garen. She's like, okay, Garen, he's poised, he's dead, blah, blah, blah. And then the first thing she does is like, oh, Lux, that one who does magic, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of like falters for a second. She's like, okay, that's the poise taken care of. What next? It's like, again,
yeah.
Always thinking. I like it.
I like how she even said out loud to him, so you do know she's a mage. I was wondering. But yeah, Swain was amazing.
Yeah,
Swain was very cool.
So fucking
Steals
cool.
the show. He's in fucking like 8 panels. It doesn't even matter.
If that
shows up in full bird form.
Yeah, it was cool though because her whole thing is she's gonna die right now. She's like, I'm gonna go with this bomb. Gonna take it out of here. We're gonna be fine. Well, I'm gonna die, but everyone else is gonna be fine. And then you see Swain's creepy claw. It looks just like the one in game has grabbed the bomb, and he's like, no, you're too important.
Noxus needs you.
Noxus needs you to kill me.
Let me just hold this bomb and point it at your dad real quick.
Yeah. So what's up? What's going on?
Man,
you killed J3? Nice.
That like full
pretty chill.
Right, that full panel when he shows up. I said it earlier, but God, it is so fucking cool. I think it's my favorite panel from the whole 10 issues, where he's like swooping in, and if they do this a couple times in the comic where some crazy shit happens and the whole thing goes sideways. I don't know if that's common. I don't read a lot of comics, but it's a really neat way of like, hey, everything's turning on its head because things are literally turning over. But God, the art itself, where he's just like, it's just so fucking, I love it. I can't put it into words.
Very cool.
I'm like, I'm on his side immediately.
Yeah. And then like, I think you get to see here, this is the first time we haven't gotten to Swain yet, so maybe this is in All's lore, but like, this is the first time we see like that, yes, like he fully recognizes that he's taking power from a demon for the betterment of Noxus, but also realizes like, it may be stronger than me. I don't know. Like at some point, this may be more than I can control. And if that happens, like the reason I've been testing you in the hardest ways possible is because I need to know that you can kill generals and kings and me if need be, because who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a vulnerability that he shows, which is really, I can't wait to get Swain. And I think I've really enjoyed how we're approaching him, because we're getting all of the stuff around him, and we're kind of we're not even to his lore, but we're peeling back the little Swain layers a little bit. I don't know. And yeah, no one man should have all that power, right? Just like, it's he's so fucking cool.
He is cool. I want to play some Swain now. Not a lot of lore we read makes me want to play a champion. This one does.
Do you want to play Cat after this?
Absolutely not. I don't know how to do that shit. Face roll? Can I face roll it still?
Right.
Is that still a
You can throw
thing?
your keyboard down the stairs, right?
Just like I take
Press
Poppy
R.
and just slap her hands on the keyboard. She'll get a pentakill. Oh.
And then it closes with that sweet nothing personal kid moment where dude's just talking about how badass he is, and then all of a sudden Katarina's behind him, like, ooh.
All right, the Jared guy. I don't remember his name.
Jaradan.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Jaredine.
He shows up in Runeterra cards. That Captain Erica lady shows up in Runeterra cards too. So there's been a lot of You know what else? That bomb, the Wolf's Maw bomb, shows up in a couple of Runeterra cards.
Interesting. They mentioned it a couple times here before we even see it. Yeah.
And that was something else cool too. At the very early, she's picking a lock that's like trapped, and she uses the Piltover lockpick. It's like, I don't know. Whoever was writing this was really aware of like, it would make perfect sense that like Noxians would take things from other cultures, like anything that's good, right? Yeah.
And she even mentions that, so that's something Darkwill wouldn't have done, would have thought that like other people's technology wasn't good enough for Noxus, is kind of the vibe you were getting. And she likes that's not the deal anymore. It's the little hex crystals, like this tiny little crystal. It looks like the screwdriver from Doctor Who.
It does.
The sonic screwdriver.
The sonic screwdriver, yeah.
Yeah, very badass. Nothing but good things to say about this.
Yeah, I think that's
highly recommend.
All my thoughts on it, but it was so much fun. It's a really quick read. Like I said, 10 issues, but they're very short. I was surprised when that first one ended. I was like, oh, okay, I can read this in time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I said, God bless Riot. God bless Riot for like thinking, hey, how do we answer the J3 assassination mystery? And then remembering like we have an assassin. We have 2 assassins in Noxus. Now that I think about it, let's have it be one of them. You know, how about Katarina? She hasn't done shit lately.
Make her important again.
Yeah, I loved that. Really makes Noxus. I know we talked last episode about how like I'm surprised Noxus hasn't even been able to accomplish more, given like how much better their pitch is than something like the Winter's Claw. But like, man, they are really good at what they do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know.
Now, there have been a few new Katarina skins too since the Katarina episode.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So we got. All right, 1AU, we got the Winged Rain.
Oh. R-E-I-G-N. I was thinking it's their other
R-E-I-G-N.
rain until I look over.
It's not rain. It's not wet. Maybe it's wet. I don't know. All Fey nobility are servants to nature's will, carrying out the natural order and the turning of seasons with their magic. Beneath that higher purpose, however, a constant game of political intrigue plays out in luxurious courts of silk, gossamer, and gold. Power, after all, magical, natural, or political, always inspires competition. This one is Fairy Court Katarina. Though Katarina...
It's cool as hell.
I know, it's pretty badass. Though Katarina is an official diplomatic envoy hailing from the unseelie court of truth and shadow, you wouldn't know it from all the side-eyed glances and disapproving frowns she received from close-minded courtiers. No matter, with daggers in hand and a mystery afoot, Katarina has her own agenda. And actually, I'm like reading this for the first time now. I didn't actually read that before. I don't think I've seen unseelie used outside of like Arthurian lore ever. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the term. Yeah, you might be right.
Huh. Neato. And then she's got a prestige skin too. Don't let the butterflies fool you. Otherworldly elegance may be Katarina's game, but that gala-ready look is sharper than her knives. Fashion is a metamorphosis, after all. Try to keep up. And then she's got a high noon skin.
Yeah.
Gunslingers and lawmen ride beneath the merciless sun of the high frontier, chasing survival and salvation in equal measure. Heaven is rubble, hell is empty, and all the devils are here. This one is High Noon Katarina, the third harbinger. My people got swindled. I aim to collect what we're owed, the outsider says, pinning her dagger in a wanted poster of the mechanical devil. Her eyes burn like stoked coal as she fixes each dusty traveler in her gaze. And I hear y'all plan on jumping the sulfur rail, harbingers. If you're gonna take this devil down, I want in.
The accent kicked in halfway through the Katarina line.
You know.
You can't help it.
Yeah, it just happens.
Give me a fucking High Noon animated series.
High Noon
Riot.
Netflix, please.
Yep. Yes, please.
And that's Katarina.
Yeah.
Dope.
All right, so I guess there's a new Nidalee bio. I read it in the... So was the second half...
changes to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
changes. Yeah. This kind of second half is kind of all the same still, right? It's really the beginning, it seemed like, was different. I don't remember, though.
I think we get a bit more detail.
Yeah.
Like she had met the Kilosh before. I think they added a lot more detail about that confrontation than they had before. they basically, actually, I don't know if anyone else took better notes than I did. I literally only wrote one note.
Okay.
But
I took a couple. I mean,
is your one note more deets about the Kilosh?
maybe.
I mean, it's more notes than I have. It's funny that was, and that's kind of what you just said, but you said it in a more sophisticated way. Yeah, we learn a little bit more about the Kilosh.
more deets. Yeah.
More deets in these beats.
I mean, it's a lot of the same stuff. The big difference that I saw was that there's kind of a turnaround where instead of her being abandoned as a child and sometimes turning into like a cat, now she was a cat and she sometimes turns into a person.
Yeah. She like hit puberty and started turning into a person.
Yeah, I do like how it was described. It's like sometimes she would get a strange hand with no hair on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or she'd be like stumbling out of their cave, like in this weird kind of half human form, which I thought that idea seemed cool. That'd be a weird thing. Talk about puberty, right? Like,
Man, I thought I had it bad.
And I think they gave some specific, like they created a vocabulary around this that I don't think existed in the older lore.
Pekka was like what they called the cats.
Yeah,
Not
their
panthers,
cats are Pekka.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a couple other terms they threw around here. Let's see, Pakiti is a little cub.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see,
go ahead.
Kupaka is something which is never actually defined. It's just a word she says. Maybe it's like a parent. I don't know. And then Kashdaji, which is referenced in the we talked about a little bit in the Milio lore, but we hadn't actually heard from hers yet. But that's kind of the name that she has in Ishtal. People call her the Kashdaji Queen, which she specifically mentions, like, only outsiders call me that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the bio for the most part is a lot of the beats are the same. They've kind of aside from that big change, she's still making arts and crafts out of plants. She's still she's still got 2 sentences worth of relationship with Neeko. They're long sentences.
Yeah, apparently very important. Yeah.
But it's, and she's still twiddling her thumbs in the jungle waiting for Riot to do something with her.
Now, one thing that I noticed, so when she's fighting the Kilosh, basically, they come after her with a spear, and she turns into a human and grabs their spear away. And she mentions, like, they start cursing her in Kilashi, we'll call it. their Vestayan language. And they mention that she actually understands some of what they're saying. They're cursing her, invoking the names of their Vastayasha ancestors.
Her mom only taught her the swear words before abandoning her.
But yeah, she understands them a little bit. What I found interesting was, like, she steals one of their spears, right? It sounds like there's at least 2 of them here, maybe 2. She steals one of their spears as they're attacking with her human hands, and then it says that they just run away after that. Basically, they curse her and they're like, I'm done with this fight. I lost my spear. Like, you're still a whole ass lion person. Like, the fight's over there. Like that doesn't sound very Kilashi of you.
Yeah, that's true. I do like that image of, like, watch out, she's got a spear. I don't know. Let's choose it.
He's got a sword. You idiot. We all got swords. Maybe these are the shitty Kilosh. Rengar is like one of the top tier ones.
Even though he's a runt.
Even though he's a runt, right?
Yeah. But he was brave and strong.
He believes he's the biggest in his heart.
Yeah. It just feels like they're continuing this expand Ishtal a little bit.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the changes we get through Nidalee are actually in her voiceover. She gets a brand new voiceover.
Oh, finally.
Immediate thing that stands out, other than the new voice lines, is the new accent, which is she has the Ishtali accent, which is, it kind of sounds like it's not like It doesn't strictly sound like Kiana. It almost sounds like a combination of Kiana and Neeko's accent.
It makes sense that they would have... I'm fine with everyone having slightly different accents, like, depending on kind of where they are in Ishtal. Because Ishtal's very, like... certain groups are very, very on their own, is kind of the vibe that you get from them. So
yeah, and it sounds like, realistically, too, I mean, she, as opposed to being... starting a human and turning into a cat, she started cat and turned into a human later, so there's a very good chance she learned how to talk from overhearing, you know, random Ishtalis and Neeko.
Or it's Kiana's vlog that she she watches Keeping Up with the Kiana or whatever.
Welcome to Yana Vlog.
Love it. Yeah, I know that's something we complained about before, is that Riot can be inconsistent about like regional accents. You know, and sometimes some are better than others, but it's nice that when they did this, someone was like, "Hey, Ishtali should kind of have this sort of sound." You know,
some uniting theme. Riot. You know,
yeah.
Man, we're really complimentary of Riot this episode.
I know.
Who are we?
What the fuck's happening? Right?
Let's talk about Rise of the Sentinels.
No, come on, man.
I don't wanna.
There's no reason to. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think at her core, Nidalee is still not doing a lot for me as a character, but like, it is nice that she's not talking about summoners.
She doesn't just sound like a sexy cat lady anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't just sound like a sexy cat. And she's got a lot more. I mean, I feel like the vocabulary adds a lot. Like, I like when they invent words, you know, for things who might not be familiar, like when they're like, there's a bunch of Piltovans that are constantly in the Ishtali jungle, just kind of cutting down trees and shit. And she refers to them as brass bones. Because they've got all sorts of machines that they're cutting down trees with and everything, and that's what she knows.
This is like their Fern Gully.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I mean, exactly right.
Yes. She seems to have familiarity with Kindred, which I found kind of surprising.
Yeah, that is interesting. Is that supposed to be maybe like because she's so in tune with like, you know, nature and like the raw primal forces that like death is so natural? I don't know.
Here's the thing, guys. I think death is like a lamb and a wolf.
Nidalee, you're high again.
And the wolf.
No, wait.
I got it.
You just got to accept it, you know? It's just like, we only die because we accept it, you know? Like,
yeah, she's got a quote to Milio. It says, "Little firebug, our Pakiti trust you, but they are naive."
Why doesn't she trust Milio?
She doesn't have full trust of Milio yet.
He's just a little boy. He's a little Pakiti.
He's like the most innocent motherfucker you could find in Runeterra.
He's the purest being in Runeterra. Get out of here.
Damn.
She's got that quote to Nefiri. "Dog beast, I will show you what it means to be a pack mother." Nefiri is that champion that we're going to get next, whenever that happens.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you know there's a line? Is it just on the wiki already?
Yeah, it's on the wiki already.
Oh, interesting. Of course it is.
And she's got some quotes towards Neeko here. "Love takes as many shapes as you do, Neeko." And then when Neeko dies...
That honestly gives me more like feelings about the relationship than anything.
I know, right?
In the lore.
And then when Neeko dies, she says, "Neeko, my world feels empty without you."
Aww. All right, now I have a new ship.
Let's see. She's got some sass towards Kiana. "How long can you survive outside your golden palace, princess?"
You fucking tell her, Nidalee. You tell her.
She's got that Rengar line. "I spare no Kilosh, Rengar. Meet me in the hunt." Gonna get her murder on. She's got a quote towards Udyr. "You think you understand the jungle, shaman, but you will always be an outsider.
It doesn't seem like he has like a choice, Nidalee. Stop yelling in his head. All the animals are just screaming in his brain.
What did you say? Sorry, I had a bird in my head for like the last 5 minutes.
Right? Do you know what birds think about? Because I do 24/7. I know what all the birds are thinking.
It's a lot of seed-based thinking, I'll say.
I know everywhere they've shit.
Right? A lot of scatological thoughts. I like her taunt.
Oh yeah, I listened to that earlier.
Meow. Meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. You got that?
I got it. She's hungry. That's what my cat's saying.
And then she's got, so interesting thing, when she kills an enemy with her spear, she has a quote that says, "I believe this is called a kebab," which is weird that we're getting 2 champions in a row that mention human kebabs. I mean, granted, Sejuani didn't specifically reference human kebabs, but we referenced human kebabs when talking about Sejuani.
I was very confused. I was like, Sejuani she gets a bowl of soup every 10 years, and that's it. She doesn't know what a kebab is.
Yeah, it took me a minute there.
And then she's got that, whenever she dies, she's got the guide me home Kupaka. So, don't know what Kupaka is.
That's who they worship, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe
we'll find out one day.
Yeah.
Maybe it means like parent or like who knows.
No, because she calls her mother when she thinks about her cat mom.
I don't.
Maybe it's father.
Father.
Kupapa.
Kupapa.
Can we get Matt Berry to come voice a champion? Maybe Nidalee. Let's do another VO.
Right.
Do one of Nidalee's lines in your best Matt Berry impression for me.
I can't, man.
I know.
I spare no kilosh, Renga. Meet me in the hunt. But she also has a new AU.
Oh, right.
Oh.
She is now part of the Cats vs. Dogs AU.
Weirdly, as a dog.
The oldest rivalry the world has ever known. Man's best friend pitted against the internet's greatest heroes. Only one faction will emerge victorious from the gnawing maw of battle between cats and dogs. Hopefully they don't get their fur too dirty. The only thing worse than losing is bath time. And this one is Nidalee. Nidalee.
I heard it.
Adorable squeaky toy or deadly weapon. In Nidalee's claws, a friendly fish can be both.
What is Yumi's name in this skin? What do you think? What are you guessing? Also, I love that the splash is Yumi dressed as a cat and Nidalee dressed as a cat sitting next to each other. It's really fantastic.
What would be a good cat name for you?
Yumi? Like
Meow, Meow, or some shit like that. Yeah. Mewmy.
It's Shiba Yumi.
Is he a dog?
Oh, she a dog? Oh, that's even better.
Dog? I didn't even notice.
What a twist.
I was just making that joke about Nidalee. Oh, why is it reversed on Yumi's? It's fucking me up. Okay.
Whoa.
Anyway. Are you done with that one?
But yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. Nidalee doesn't have any robust lore.
She does not.
Alright, fine.
Yeah, any more thoughts on that, or do we want to rock out?
I'm ready
Bard?
to move on.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
good.
sleepy.
All right. Yeah, this story is called "Testimony of the Balladeer" by Marcus Terrell Smith, which I don't think I've heard that name before.
Yeah, I think it's a new name.
New?
And it's a strong opener. I thought, I liked it. So it's being told. It's like, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to.
First of all, they called me a
this.
Demacian.
Yeah, it's like you're being spoken to, right, by this old
You're
guy.
being told the story.
He's like some guy on the street or something. I don't know. Like someone's like, hey, you're a good,
Some
you're
old
a
drunk
Demacian,
on the
right?
street.
Yeah. He's like, come listen for a minute. I've got a tale to tell. He's a balladeer, we'll say, I guess, based on the title. And he is essentially trying to give a warning, and he's telling this story, this rambling ass story about how back in the Freljord where he used to live, one day his chimes started chiming, like these 200-year-old chimes, during this winter storm, and the door smashed open, and as he went to go close it, there was suddenly a meep standing there, and the meep started kind of like reaching out to his chimes, and one of the chimes started kind of reacting to him. And what the backstory he gives for the chimes is that his family used to be in this tribe called the Collectors, and what they would do is after people would fight in the Freljord, they'd go get all the metal and they would sell it back to the Winter's Claw. But they would keep a little bit and they would make shit for themselves from it, and these chimes were made of that. So the meep is like pulling this like energy, kind of like a bard chime is what I'm talking about, essentially, out of it. And he doesn't want his like mother's 200-year-old whatever chimes to be broken or whatever, so he tries to grab onto them, and he's like sucked into like a bard portal, I guess, and becomes like a meep. It's a little hard to tell like the literal what's happening.
I was very confused.
Very shroomy.
Yeah. It's like I don't know if he just like saw it for a second in his mind's eye, or if he actually for a century was a meep. I don't know. But he's like, here's what I saw, and I will tell it to you in the form of a song called The Bells. And he sings this song about how he saw like the creation of the universe, and with him and Bard, and shit was pretty chill, and then the void started fucking shit up, and it was like essentially the world that is Runeterra was like disintegrating, and that's what the chimes are. That's the point of it, is that the chimes that Bard goes around and collects are like the little bits that like Runeterra needs to be whole again, and so Bard is kind of out collecting all these little chimes and stuff to like reform and keep Runeterra whole and undo the void stuff. And so at the end of it all, he's like, so what I need from you is all of your precious metals so that I can check them for chimes, and anything that doesn't have chimes in it, I'll give back to you. Wait, where are you going?
I'm telling the truth, I swear.
I'm serious. The world's going to end, and the only thing that will stop it is Bard and his chimes. And that's the end of it.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
It had a lot of there's like big Aladdin vibes here. Like the whole start of it, like that crazy peddler, like, oh, stop, I have a tale to tell. And then he tells a tale with musical interludes, and then closes it with
grabs a hold of the camera. Wait, come back here. It was pretty funny.
We're really no Aladdin today.
Yeah, right? What's up with that? No,
I don't want to watch it.
But yeah, it's pretty funny. I like the tone of it a lot. You know, the fact that there's a little song just in there. I was trying to figure out, like, to what tune could this song have been sung?
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the rhymes don't work.
I hate reading a song in a book. It is one of my least favorite things.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I was reading it out loud.
With the
and I was
repeat
reading
of
it
the bells over and over, it sounded like just the bells of Notre Dame. The bells, the bell.
It's pretty good. Some of the
so
rhymes.
Not for whom thou bell tolls. That's not what it was probably set to.
But I like that he has the whole little aside. Like in the start, he's trying to tell the story, and then he has like a 2-paragraph aside about these fucking chimes, and he's like, "Sorry, I digress." Like he's just telling this rambling ass story, and he kind of forgot what he was even trying to tell you in the first place. He's like, "Oh yeah. So."
I like that he mentioned they sold it to the Winter's Claw, so the Winter's Claw could make like more weapons, but we really know the Winter's Claw is just making a big pile of offerings to talk to Volibear once.
That's
right.
That's how they did it. Yeah, they went to the collect. Yeah, I like that, frankly.
I always like. I feel like getting lore that explains in-game mechanics can always be very hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
I didn't mind this one. I didn't feel like I needed it as an explanation for why Bard's going around and collecting chimes. from Summoner's Rift, but like, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, I was curious, like, why did they make this Bard's story at first, but then I was thinking, because they are expanding on the Void a little bit with Belveth, and I wonder if it just kind of came out when doing all that with Belveth. Like, who else can we?
Because the bell.
Oh, that's it. That's it. We figured it out.
We cracked the code.
She's the last chime that Bard needs to find.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, John. I mean, like, I was giving it more of a pass because it's all through the lens of this guy anyway. So it's like a lot of it's sort of like he's kind of unreliable ultimately as a narrator because you don't know what the fuck actually happened.
I think this is completely true.
I think
it is true.
I think it's likely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a real shit job now, like trying to sing his little song to people and get them to give him gold.
No one's gonna. It's not gonna work. It wouldn't work on me either, man.
Give me your valuables. I gotta check it for chimes. It's like my parents trying to check my Halloween candy.
Right? Those fuckers. Which is what we're gonna do with Poppy when she's old enough to trick or treat.
You get all the chimes out of there. Yeah, it's a little bit of a change of what Bard's doing in the first place, because I remember way back in Bard, he was just going around collecting all of the valuable shit that fell out of the heavens that wasn't supposed to be on Runeterra, and now he's collecting chimes.
He was kind of like a celestial rise almost.
Yeah.
But instead of world runes, he was collecting like celestial artifacts.
Yeah, and now he's all about chimes. And I don't know if there's overlap. I assume it's just Riot wasn't doing anything with that bio anyway, so fuck it, let's make him a little more related to the Void. Just that's fine with me. Whatever.
Yeah.
I need an old meme request real quick. You know, the one where the guy is trying to hold all the limes. How do I hold all these chimes? Pardon me, please.
It has to fucking exist. I'm gonna go fucking look at
Right. And also, there's a possibility I made that joke in the Bard episode, and if I did, I'm sorry. I don't honestly remember.
It was over 2 years ago.
Oh, guys.
Right?
I can't remember jokes I made last week.
Me neither. Yeah.
It was neat, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun story.
Now,
he also has new skins.
Bard also has new skins, but also we didn't really talk about his AUs.
Oh, yeah.
Except for... Now, this was... Bard and Caitlyn were back when we only talked about AUs if they had stories associated with them, because that was the only way I knew how to find information about AUs. I had not yet come to this refined, research method I have nowadays.
Of Googling.
How dare you? So, Bard is part of Cafe Cuties, which is actually a new one. Good food is magic. Literally. In a world of elegant tea times and enchanted pastries, mages make magical macarons, craft charmed croissants, and serve up sorcerous scones to scores of customers eager to get a taste. This is Cafe Cuties Bard. Bard is a wandering, wordless connoisseur of the finest cafes. If he leaves behind a blessing in the form of a teacup, 100 years of sweet success. No one knows where the teapot troubadour comes from, or if he has a purpose beyond the delighting in patisserie. But a visit from Bard instantly puts any cafe on the map.
Sweet. I just like how many letters there are in the word croissant and how few letters you actually said when you pronounce it. Croissant.
What's really fun is that you're referencing one of 2 TikToks that say croissant funny. I'm not sure which one it is.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying croissant like it's...
It's called pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah. Get some culture in your life.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sean. Now you just sound like Keenan and all that.
Pierre Escargot.
Yeah.
No one's gonna know what the fuck y'all are talking about, I will say.
No.
Right.
Other 30-somethings, please. Other old people.
Before he was on SNL.
Right. His pre-SNL days. It trained him.
Now, he's also part of Eclipse. In the beginning, the old gods reigned. So great was humankind's love for them that one dared to make them a part of her flesh forever. She devoured the sun itself, and descending from that empty heaven, inspired her knights to decimate all those that remained. Centuries later, they stand, the only hope against the rising coven's darkness.
Oh, this is Elderwood. I was like, what?
This is Elderwood Bard.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Bard is a creature of the old world, they say, older than the great forest, and older even than the seeds it sprouts from. Few records remain of the age before the gods, but it is likely Bard predates them, a truly primordial being tending the land since time's first dawn. And, he's part of Snow Day, too. It's beginning to look a lot like Snow Day,
Dun, dun, dun.
up and down the lanes. Though your tank may be rushing in, Top is backing again. They have gold to spend on a Lich Bane.
What top laner is building Lich Bane?
This is Snow Day Bard.
So cute.
Bard's vast cosmic powers and inscrutable nature are great assets in a snowball fight. Summoning an array of enchanted Wonderland penguins, self-warming cups of cocoa, and portals to nowhere give this wandering caretaker an unbeatable edge. I bet he could even beat Elf. I said it.
Beat Elf?
In a snowball fight?
You mean Buddy
okay.
the elf?
Yeah.
Yeah. His name's not Elf.
The
John.
elf.
His name's Buddy.
He's
Right.
Mr. the Elf.
There's a bunch of elves in that movie. He's not even an elf.
Right, he's not even. Don't you know your elf
How do you
lore?
not know
Come
the
on.
elf lore, Chuck? I watch it several times every Christmas. Anyway. Astronaut.
Star
I
Voyagers.
mean, Star Voyager.
Astronauts, hijinks, and adorable alien meeps. Defying gravity is just another day for these adventurous space protectors as they defend planet M33P and traverse the grand cosmos that await them.
It's adorable.
And this is Astronaut Bard, whose only lore is in space. No one can hear you chime.
I feel like they already made a joke like
They
that
did.
in one of their skins.
They absolutely did.
Okay.
And it was equally not rhyming with Scream.
So how would you make it for Bard? How would you make it rhyme with Scream? No one can hear you beam.
Cream is the only place my mind goes to. When it doesn't.
That's a different movie, Mark.
Mark, no. It's true, though. They can't hear you.
It's true, they can't.
I mean, it doesn't really. Whatever. I mean, it doesn't make a sound on Earth anyway. It's not like. Whatever.
I'll speak for yourself. So in this skin, like there's some lights going on a planet here, and they're in the shape of Bard's face.
Oh, that's true.
Cute.
3 dots.
3 dots.
Now, that's all the Bard shit. We literally only had one Caitlyn thing that we wanted to talk about. This is just a quick thing, because, we did the Caitlyn episode. We had all these theories about who C was.
Did we?
They were all grounded in legitimate, I feel like thoughts and
Sure.
theories and other
Voice
champion quotes and all that
lines,
stuff. Yeah, exactly. But we're fucking idiots. None of them were right. They released a new person in Legends of Runeterra, and that's C.
Yep.
Her name is Katarina Varaza.
Who?
You know, Katarina Varaza.
Yeah. It starts with C. That's all you need to know.
It's true. So those are the Caitlyn updates. Although
Just take out the C thing, Riot. It doesn't make any sense.
no,
Imagine I think the only acceptable one for me is if it was Caitlyn from the future.
oh shit,
Oh yeah, I remember
she's
that.
already part of Pulsefire, so it could
Yeah. It's an alternate universe. That's how they're gonna cross over finally. The AUs.
I kind of
Right.
like it. I'll be honest with
It's
you.
better than Karina, whoever the hell this is.
You know,
I mean, she's pretty
don't
cool.
act.
She'd be a good champion, maybe.
I don't know. I honestly, legitimately don't remember if I know this or not.
You don't.
She's
No, thank you.
She's like a Chem Baron in Zon who like specializes in plants. She's kind of like
So
a
she's
human
Poison
Zyra.
Ivy?
Yeah,
Oh.
she's very much like Poison Ivy, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, more so than Zyra.
yes.
Shit, now that I think about it.
But what a pairing that would be.
It
huh?
would be great. Now, since we decided to talk about Caitlyn and we weren't doing AUs when we did Caitlyn, I got some AUs for Caitlyn, y'all. She's part of Battlecast, which I didn't know. The glorious revolution is here, assembling an army of machines with living brains. Victor marches against the combined forces of his enemies with only a scrappy human-led resistance keeping him from total world domination. This one's Resistance Caitlyn. Caitlyn has never forgiven herself for letting Victor's rise to power go unchecked for so long. Determined to fire the shot that ends the war for good, she has personally gunned down hundreds of Battlecast machines in her bloody search for absolution. Although I guess if she cut down the machines, it's not necessarily a bloody, more like an oily search for absolution.
No, the machines have blood in them. That's
oh shit! What is this? High Noon?
And it's angel blood, and it's fucking cool.
And then we got PsyOps. High Command needed a new group to handle the growing threats along the Arctic front. They needed soldiers colder than the glaciers they'd be crossing. Are those glaciers or are those Malphite? With ice in their veins and frosty nerves. Enter Arctic Ops. Mm-hmm. You remember that Malphite
That's no
thing,
glacier.
Huh? That's no glacier. Little callback.
Nice.
This is Arctic Warfare Caitlyn. Very few snipers can cut it on the Arctic front. The cold is unforgiving, the winds are harsh, and any who dare brave the tundra find themselves at the mercy of Caitlyn, a sniper with deadly aim and a killer instinct.
This was the first skin I ever wanted, and the first one I got.
Really?
Yeah, because it was when I only played Caitlyn to start. And she didn't have a lot of skins back then. And I liked this one, because the other options were not great. I mean, they all have new splashes now, and they all look amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like Resistance.
Yeah.
But maybe that's
pretty cool.
The new splash that I'm thinking of.
I like the new splash is amazing.
Yeah. There's a lot of real old shitty splashes that Caitlyn's got.
Yeah.
Next up, we got The Grind, which is kind of like a day job thing. And this one's Cops and Robbers. Nobody puts in the work like the Piltover Police Department. Who else can lock up the most sugar-laden donuts inside their merciless stomachs, rack up the highest of overtimes, and ignore even the most menial of paperwork? The criminals may be taking advantage of it, but even they wish they had the same work ethic. So it's Officer Caitlyn. Most people assume that Caitlyn is the good cop between her and Vi. What they don't know is that her sharp eyes, quick wit, and dedication make her one of the toughest officers on the force. She doesn't mind being underestimated, especially if it gives her the upper hand.
Good stuff. I like this Caitlyn, but if she's a officer of the law, if she's a sheriff,
right? Who could imagine such wild things?
Caitlyn, but she likes donuts now. She's got a donut in it.
I like that this is one of, I think, 4 Caitlyn skins where she's like a sheriff.
Yeah. She's a sheriff, but here. Which I guess it's kind of what a lot of AUs are.
Yeah.
And we got Sun-Kissed Summer, which is what Pool Party's part of now.
That's right.
It's summer, baby! The sun's out, the breeze is warm, and the water's cool. Everybody's leaving their rivalries and grudges at home and bringing only swimsuits and good vibes. There'll be plenty of time for punching and yelling later. Just sit back, enjoy music, and soak up the fun. This one's Pool Party Caitlyn. For Caitlyn, nothing says a perfect summer's day like lounging at a luxurious poolside, eating shaved ice and drinking tropical libations. And shooting people. She really loves shooting people. And, you know, at least all the rest of those things, like, same.
Samesies, yeah.
Samesies. We got Arcade. Arcadia, home to the server's most competitive arcade gamers and justice-driven NPCs. Here, the heroes always play to win, and that means overriding the battle boss's corrupted code, even with the odds stacked against them. Victory won't come easy, but seeing the surprise on the boss's faces after an incredible outplay will totally make it worth it. This is Arcade Caitlyn. Acclaimed hero of the Sniper Cop rail shooter series, Caitlyn enforced the laws of Arcadia prior to the battle boss uprising. She brings her sharp eye and eager trigger finger to the fight to save her world, only stopping long enough to flick her gun off screen for a reload.
Yeah. I get that, yeah.
I got the joke.
And this one has a prestige one, appearing most recently in Sniper Cop 7 as a golden-clad secret character. Caitlyn's popularity has finally transcended games as a medium. And now she's part of the God Weapon, which is the Battle Academy skin line. Set in a world where champions go to school so they cultivate the next generation of superheroes. Battle Academia Caitlyn, a feared and respected second year, head of the Luminary Club, and class president of Labrys God Weapon Academy, Caitlyn enrolled herself in the famously troubled school specifically to whip the delinquents there into prime fighting shape, hoping to one day become the greatest battlefield general in history. With her perfect record, she's not too far off. And there's prestige skin here, where the quotes are interactions between her and, would you believe it, Katarina.
Okay.
You're new here, Caitlyn, so let me catch you up. Nobody here cares about your weapon or your good grades. Turn your nose up all you like, but if you come in here assuming this school works like your last, it's gonna eat you alive. And she says, I'd like to repay your sentiment, Katarina, so let me catch you up. My rifle does not define me, and neither does this school. A leader, a general, shapes everything around them, not the other way around.
Now I've got an AP Bio test to go do, so excuse me.
I've got to dissect a pig. Then we've got Moons of Ionia, and this one's Snow Moon, and this Moons of Ionia is now what Blood Moon is under too, because they added a Snow Moon to the Blood Moon, so now they fall under Moons of Ionia.
What other moons do you think there's going to be?
The gentle rain moon.
Okay.
An ancient cult seeking irresistible power surfaces on nights of the blood moon to perform profane esoteric rites, merging their flesh with demonic spirits and becoming one with an ever greater darkness. This one's Snow Moon Caitlyn. A tool of chilling acuity, Caitlyn is the Snow Moon's most elite sniper. It was her craving for a calculating nature, stripped of the moorings of sympathy, that drew her to serve. There was once warmth in her heart. In dreams, she sees a figure, wild and untamed, in a world not meant for her.
I feel like this looks like super like Lunar Wraith Caitlyn if she just was not like purple. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
chilly instead of purple.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Heartthrobs and Heartaches. The preppy and perfectly poised Heartthrob clique don't have much in common with the Heartache crew, who would much rather be ditching class to hang out at the skate park. But they agree on one thing. They've had it with this silly made-up holiday dedicated to people catching feelings. So why can't they seem to shake the butterflies from their stomachs?
This splash is so good, the one with her and Vi.
And this one is Heartthrob Caitlyn. I hate the way you walk around like you're Princess Caitlyn of them all, and I'm just some gutter rat. I hate the way you look at me when there's no one else around, but wouldn't be caught dead with me in town. Maybe our whole thing was just a huge mistake, so if you want me to go, I'm gone. But ask, and I will stay. From Vi.
I think she was a big fan of 10 Things I Hate
I was
About
gonna
You.
say.
Absolutely. I was
I
very
was
much
waiting for
expecting
that.
it to...
The thing I hate
the most
So
is how I hate them do it all.
Not even a little bit. Not even at all. What a film.
Shit, let's watch
God, we
that.
referenced too many old people movies.
Go back and watch. I mean,
10 Things I
you
Hate
can
About
skip a
You?
lot of those, but like go back and watch 10 Things I Hate About You.
It's
And
so
Aladdin.
good.
Aladdin's a good
And
one to
And
go back
Aladdin,
to.
yeah, obviously. And Ferngully.
And
Ferngully,
Ferngully, that's
yeah.
true.
It's worth
Watch
it.
everything
And
we
all
mention,
that,
y'all,
you
because
know?
we don't talk about it unless it's good.
You don't have to watch Austin Powers, I'm going to be honest. If you haven't seen it at this point, you're
That's
probably
fair.
fine.
That's fair. You know, not all of them aged as well as others.
Yeah.
Ferngully, unfortunately, aged better than... Next up, we got High Noon. And we read the High Noon blurb already. So this one, Sheriff Caitlyn. The Old West lies far outside the government's jurisdiction, leaving local peacekeepers to enforce whatever passes for justice on the high frontier. As lone sheriff on the town of Progress, Caitlyn has found that the arm of the law is roughly as long as the range of her rifle.
I like this splash so much, but it has one of the many with the women that they do that they insist on putting this tiny little thigh gap just between her legs. They do that all the time. They're like, you know what? We really need a space under that vag. Gotta let it breathe. And it just doesn't make any sense. There's not a space there, Riot. I don't know why this bothers me so much. But I really hate it.
They should hide like little like Easter eggs in there. Like, I don't know what.
Literally, there's just an egg in there.
Caitlyn
you get,
lays
like
eggs,
to see what the next skin release is going to be between.
They're all Cassiopeia's eggs. That's where they go.
Anyway.
We got Legacy, treasures from days long past, glimmering just within reach. That's where Safari Caitlyn's at. When she isn't attending galas or teaching seminars, Dr. Caitlyn Kierman can be found exploring ancient ruins in search of historical artifacts. Armed with her trusty rifle, a wealth of esoteric knowledge, and an accident-prone Ezreal, she braves the most mysterious places in the world to bring long-dead civilizations and their secrets into the light.
I guess it's good that they don't have her just like poaching endangered rhinos and shit.
Right? Like she used to be?
Yeah. Now that didn't age well.
Yeah. Good update. Good update on that one. And then the final one we got here is Lunar New Year. It's time to look back, to celebrate with family and friends, to join together and remember all that has happened, the good and the bad. And as the fireworks light up the night sky, we look forward to a new year filled with wonderful memories with the ones we hold dear. And this one is Lunar Wraith Caitlyn, a malignant spirit said to... So,
holiday.
the juxtaposition
celebrate.
here.
God, why is her leg so long? It's freaking me out.
I know, right? It's all sorts of weird. A malignant spirit said to appear during Lunar Revel, Caitlyn is known to meddle in the affairs of gods and mortals alike. Her attention has been catastrophic to all who would draw it, and even seeing her is considered an ill omen. I get that. Just seeing her. Why your proportions all weird?
You're freaking me out.
But that's it, y'all.
That's our catching up.
Good stuff.
I'm sure we missed some stuff, but that's what we want to cover right now.
Yeah, those were all...
It's mostly about the comic, really.
Yeah, those were all pretty big stuff. I mean, the VO and bio stuff for Nidalee, and the Bard getting a color story. Yeah, look at that. Good stuff.
Woo! Yeah. Well, sorry. I didn't really have notes.
Didn't write down who we were up against next?
Yep. No, I'm excited. I didn't realize. We're having a wee fighting. I'm going to lose. Thank you so much for listening, though. We have a Twitter. It's at Loreheads. Should I keep putting that first? I feel like it's coughing. It has a dying, bloody cough right now. We have a YouTube as well. We've been posting these videos. Sean's been posting a lot of clips and stuff. We hit 1,000 subscribers.
We finally hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank y'all so much. Yeah. This is very exciting. One step closer to being able to monetize. Not quite there yet. Not quite there.
We don't really have the view count.
But you know what? We're almost. We're one step there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get there. We have a Twitch as well, twitch.tv/Loreheads. John streams on Saturdays. He's generally doing TFT, and then we do some A-Ramps, but I think he's going to occasionally hop on Mage Seeker.
Yeah, hoping to beat that before Tears of the Kingdom comes out.
Yeah, You've got time. You got this.
Like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be good. We have a Discord if you want to join in on some conversations that are happening. That I'm sure they're happening. People are talking about lore, I think.
Lots of conversations on that there Discord.
Yeah. Was that it? We have a Patreon as well. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons. Big Man Gnomes, Chloe Things, John is a Sexy Egg,
Ooh.
King of Hearts, Shupa Moustache, and Techno Robert. You are all amazing, and if anything new happens in your life, let me know, and we'll do a revisit episode on you.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Maybe.
$3,000 Patreon tier. We'll do a revisit episode on your life.
We will come to your house. We'll follow you around with cameras.
It'll be like Room Raiders.
Room Raiders.
All the things to reference. Don't Don't go back and watch that. Don't go back and watch Room Raiders. We'll kidnap all three of you. 3 people. And send a girl to teach you.
You know what? Don't listen to her. I'll go back and watch Room Raiders.
Wow. That's the show we're talking about, right? That's Room Raiders, right? The dating show on MTV,
right?
Music television.
Play at 2 a.m.
It was so bad. It's honest. No, you know what? I take it back. You should go watch.
You should go watch Room
Just
Raiders.
watch an episode of Room Raiders. If you want to know what the early 2000s were like, fashion, just like the jokes.
The person
They're
the
terrible.
People.
And
yeah.
the people. Yeah, that's what all 3 of us were like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
We weren't.
Next.
Yeah.
You remember Next?
I do.
Yeah.
That one I didn't really watch. Room Raiders I did watch, though, a little bit. Anyway, please be sure to join us next week for our revisit of Room Raiders when we watch the whole series. No, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty excited, even though I apologize. We are going to have to talk about Rise of the Sentinels as we cover the Redeemer, Senna.